Alright, so this is the last segment. So we just have to hit the 7 and the 6 and the 6 there and the A shape. We're defining this is the A shaped half diminished. Now we may be able to consider them by their inversion. So if the inversion has a special shape, the problem is the warp is going to give them, give them their final special shape. And by the way, supposedly it doesn't matter what the inversion is when you're playing at least diminished. Okay, so this is the same as this, it's the same as this, as the same as this. Unless you're going up and down, it builds tension. But anyway, it'd be like, it's a nice chord, and then it resolves too. So you can, if you're having trouble with chords, you can always just do notes. Alright. Actually, I found it more difficult. And I thought I figured out guitar, by, now I know where the chords are. So now I can just play arpeggios, and all the time like that. And it wasn't any easier. Things go up and they're always the same shape pattern wise, but when they hit the tuning warp, you just adjust for that. So there's a few different ways, a few different schools of thought with the guitar, and they're all good. So this is the last segment, and I don't want to just use up every second. So we do want to have like a little conclusion. In the G shape, we have our own. This 7-4-6-2 is characteristic of a one of the chord phrasings. Although that looks difficult to play, on the bar, but using the bar, you could certainly play this chord. The 6, the 2, the 4, and then the 6. You don't want to get that 7 right away, and you could get this 2 additionally. So it's getting a little difficult to phrase these chords. You want to get your bar down and decide, okay, I'm going to hit the 4 and the 2 and the 6. This thing looks like a mini E up here. But what we're lacking here is the 7th. We're lacking the 7th in that. So it's really the 6, 2, the 4, and the 7 that makes the chord. So sometimes you can just play that chord, okay? It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm not sure how I'd phrase it, but you can play the top 3. Alright, so there's a way to do that, and that gets into fingering and how the best way to play the chords, and that's something that I'm not covering in this in this time around. I'll find the best way to play a chord, that's for sure. And I like to play chords that are easy for me to play. My fingers are not the same as everybody else's. I'm not that bad. I'm just saying I have things that the way I'd rather play chords, and even on the piano, there's things I'd rather not do. But we should agree on certain things, and in the G, that 6-2-4-7, that's pretty much a G shaped. Because it's right in the middle of the cage box. It's not on the end. So you pretty much give that that little cage shape to the G. And like I say, you can move the bar up sometimes within these cages. You can definitely move the bar up one or down one. You have to, okay? Especially in, like, over here, the E cage. If you're going to do a root chord, you would bar the root. If you're going to do a this guy here, you could bar the 7. You know, I forget how that would work. But the other case is over here, where on the open C, where you have the E on the bottom. Remember, this 3 looks like an E. That's your open chord. You have the open, but then when you want to hit the F, you got to bar the F. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, in the G, you could possibly bar the 4th there, and then you only have to play the 7, the 2, and the 6. You know, but still, how do you get them? I don't know. Okay, still difficult. People have ways of phrasing these things. Here's a 7-4-6-2 right there, and you know that's why I had to consult to the internet, you know, to see a good old-fashioned chord chart. How do you play a B half diminished, you know? And then you have to figure out, because they'll have it turned sideways, they'll have it with dots, and they'll, you know. And I had to really figure that out. Now in the E shape, we've got this very, very nice little 7-4-6-2. That I find is easy because it's up here in the E shape, okay, and it would be 7 in the key of C, just like that, just a triple finger bar. You know, and let's hope we can assign that to the E, because the only other one would be the D over here. And if we look at the big D box, not the little D box, this is the one that resolves it. It says D owns these chords. Well, guess what? You don't get the 7th. Why? Because the 7th isn't part of the D. Remember, D goes 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3. That's what I consider the D shape. There's discrepancy of where the shape boundaries are. So I could show you how when you play a D on your guitar, all right, you play a D. Okay, the note that's on the bottom of that is the 3. Is the E, which is the 2nd of D. That's why you start on the 2nd here. Okay, so it looks like for some reason that 7th isn't super really shared in that. I had to give the E something. I could be wrong. I mean, this 2, 6, 4, 7 could be considered part of the D if you look at D as actually being the D cross the G cross the A. Okay, because you're not going to see that unless you look at the A part. All right, the G doesn't go up there. The G goes 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2. G goes 2, 4, 5, 6, root 2, 4, 5, and then does a double S2L up here, an S2L long up there. It's the A shape that gives you the 7 and the 3. So, you know, that's A shape starting from the D, you know, which is interesting, which means it's the 5th. It's the 5th of that root. Okay. So we just need a reference to call them what they are. Over here, would D have its own? It should have its own. It could be 2, 6, 2, 4. It could be like 2, 4, 7, like that. It could be 6, 2, 4, 7 is likely the D shape. And then we'd have to go back over to C here and see how much of that we got in that 6, 2. We didn't get the 4. That's why it's a D. Anyway, keep watching if you want to keep learning.